Hi everybody and welcome back. You are hanging out with your ultimate fave, Naledi M official, right here on Hotspot, where we talk about everything from your funnies to hot topics. Now the one that I really want to talk about is so interesting because I'm not a part of this equation, but I do feel like I give grace. I do feel like I give grace. I'm just full of grace. No, I feel like I give great advice. So I felt like we should really talk about this, and it kind of does affect me in some way because I have been wanting to do this for some time now, but evidently someone's son feels like, hey? As you guys can see by the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about all things marriage in terms of marriage perceptions and everything we experience and stories I've heard from people about marriage. And this is actually based on a show on a show that's coming out on the 6th of November by my ultimate fave, Ntate Thuso.
I hope the message sent in gidi thotse tsa go o bulelwe gate.
Ke ratile ke tsa bophelo ba ka ntleng ya gago. Ke nagana gore ntshetse botshelo.
Don't be desperate.
I can fool around, but I choose not.
Ha ke kopana le ene ne re tshameka go ka moreng.
Diskelaktimana. Nga wena. Tshwantse be monike.
Ekhaya kubo bamtholele umunye unkosikazi.
Hayi.
Ukuthi abe nomntwana naye.
Step usibata sinogono. Uke kwa rulata step ka dieta tse kopang kofi.
You guys know Ntate Thuso. If you guys don't know him, there is a really popular video of him where he's like snogo nogo haseo. Snogo nogo haseo. Direct translation, that means you don't have money, right? So Ntate Thuso, who was actually known for a radio presenter on I think it's Thuso, has recently got a show on Moja Love, which is called Lenyalo Le Thata, which means marriage is hard. It starts on the 6th of November, I think 8:30 Central African time on Moja Love, my favorite episode. If there's one thing Moja Love does, it gets it right. These are things I want to watch. You understand? Like I believe in Moja Love more than I believe in myself. Honestly, I don't want to lie. That show starts on the 6th of November, and what Ntate Thuso is going to be doing is essentially helping people sort out their marriage issues. So before we watch that, I'm gonna see if I can help you sort out your marriage issues. I ain't never been married before, but that's not the point. So for this video, I asked a question about how marriage has been. I asked a couple of questions on social media and people have basically submitted their stories, but people actually gave me really long scenarios. So for this particular video, I'm only going to read 3 scenarios and give you guys my piece of advice. I wanted to get married for a really long time. I mean, our parents have gotten married and their marriages have withstood the test of time. Our parents get married for like 13, 20, 25 years. And in today's society, a lot of things have changed. There is like a higher divorce rate, but it's due to a number of factors. We don't live in traditional times anymore where the men were providers and the women would stay at home and cook and feed the kids. There's no longer that kind of transition. Everything has kind of become modern. Women are more liberated. Women get to work in the same industries as men. Women get to have voices and opinions. Women get to choose to be something else other than a mother or a housewife, and I embrace that because I firmly believe that I've always wanted to have an amazing career alongside being a great wife. But also it comes with the challenge of trying to chase your dreams and to be married to someone. I mean, marriage is a really serious union, and I think a lot of people, when we jump into it, sometimes we don't think of the worst possible scenario, but it does happen that over time people can love each other and people can lose that love within a marriage, right? And that's been my biggest fear, because I have this fear that if I get married, I never want to get divorced. And that's my one prayer, that I find someone that I marry and my first husband should be my last. Please. Thank you. People submitted their scenarios because I asked specific questions. So I will ask the question on here and give you the scenario. So the first question I asked was, what has been the best thing about being married? So the first anonymous said, hi Naledi, so my name is X for anonymous. I'm 27 and I've been married to my partner for almost a year now. I absolutely enjoy being married as I finally have experienced what unconditional love feels like. My husband is reliable, dependable, and loves me at my lowest. Well, ain't you lucky? This sounds like a Tyler Perry movie, but okay. I can't imagine my life before him. Cha! What? And I am glad that I never get to spend my nights alone anymore. I get to spend them with him. Guys, hey, look how other kids are living. So, Anonymous, I think that is the sweetest thing ever. They normally say that in marriage, the first year is always the toughest. And the fact that you have been married to your partner and you're so happy, you're so in love, I'm so glad that you guys can keep that bubble alive. Normally the honeymoon phase of marriage is generally the best one, so I do hope that that honeymoon phase continues to last throughout your marriage. And to be honest with you guys, this is the kind of things I want to experience when I get married myself. I'm also actually 26 turning 27, and one of the things I've always wanted was to marry young so that I could explore the world with my partner. So to be able to marry someone who's like your best friend, who's there for you, who's reliable, who's dependable. I love how you spoke about your husband and your partner, because that really signifies, or it identifies, how strong of a bond and how good you guys are to each other. You understand? So I'm really happy to hear that, Anonymous. I love that for you, and I hope that you guys continue to stay in love and remain in love. Okay, I love that for you. Love a girl. Okay guys, so the next question I asked on social media is, what has been the most difficult thing about being married? And this one was particularly interesting, hence I picked this one. Anonymous said, hi Naledi, my name is X and I am 36 years old. I have been married for about 6 years now, and I wish someone had told me how difficult marriage can be, especially when finances are involved. Woo! It's already tough when finances are involved when you're not even married. Okay, I'm gonna finish. Sorry. My husband used to spoil me when we first met. I'm talking dinners, movie dates, and he would even bring my favorite chocolate to work sometimes. But now things feel forced. With COVID affecting us financially, it has been tense at the house. He no longer does nice things for me, which I understand, but he doesn't treat me in a loving manner anymore. I understand that it's a rough patch for us, but I miss the man that I married when we were in love. What should I do? Yo, Anonymous. Now, this one is pretty tricky because you guys have been married for a really long time now, and I can't particularly identify whether he's changed because of the financial strain, or maybe it's been a situation of time. But I will say, I do think you should sit down and have a conversation with your husband. I do think that you should let him know how you're feeling, because it does seem like from this message, you're not looking for the tangible things. You're not looking for the flowers and stuff, because you understand the financial predicament that you guys are in. But I do understand missing that lovingness from a partner, because she says, I miss the man that I married. So the man that she married sounded like he was spontaneous. He was, very loving, out there, very rendezvous-y. So in regards to the intangible stuff, that's what's really important. I do understand that maybe he is frustrated. Maybe let's take into consideration that he's frustrated, obviously due to not getting work or not being able to, do the nice things for you. And maybe men do also have feelings. And sometimes when men feel like they can't provide for their partners, it does have a toll on them and their personas, and how they feel. So I would say, be more loving and maybe have a sit down with him and tell him how you feel, and you guys can start developing ways to mitigate this and show each other love without money being involved, because it does seem like you guys love each other and you've stuck by him even with the situation, because it is affecting the both of you. COVID has affected everyone. COVID has really kind of created a tense space, like everywhere, the whole world. But it was like a black swan that kind of really came and turned the world over. But it's how you guys rise back up from that fall. You know what I mean? So I would say talk to him. Maybe let him know how you feel. I think he'd be he'd feel a little bit better. You never know how it could go. But I don't think it would go in a bad way. So take my advice. The last question that I asked was, if you could change one thing in your marriage, what would it be? And And this anonymous one was pretty interesting because I do feel like this is also one of my biggest fears, especially about getting into marriage. So that would be really interesting. So anonymous said, hey ultimate fave, hey girl. Okay, sorry. My name is X and I am 28 years of age. My husband and I got married when we were in our early 20s and have been in love ever since. However, our careers seem to get in the way of us spending quality time together. He is in the financial industry and so am I, and our jobs have become extremely demanding. We are both so passionate and driven only because we want to create a soft life for each other. Soft meaning like they want to create a comfortable life for each other, for anybody who doesn't know what that means. However, in choosing that, we have lost out on so much quality time together. When I'm free, he is busy and vice versa. I really want to settle down and spend more time with him, but I also don't want him to not focus on his goals because of me. What should I do? That one is so hard because you never want to be the reason someone doesn't pursue their goals because you want them to yourself. So anonymous, I completely understand where you're coming from with this one, because I personally don't think I would want to be with someone who would want me to halt my goals and my dreams so that I can be there for them. But I do understand in this instance where marriage is involved, the same way you commit to work and giving the best of yourself, marriage is also something that requires commitment. It is essentially a commitment. And if you do feel like to a certain degree you're losing your husband to work, I do really encourage communication and to be obviously very careful with your words, because some people can really take it as though you're saying, no, I want you to halt your goals and focus on me, and that's not what you're saying. But as women and men, as humans, we all require that sort of love and affection and reassurance and to know that we're loved. So maybe create that environment. It starts with the little things like, I really miss you, I really want to spend time. Organizing impromptu dates, obviously within, you know, the scope of how much time you guys have. But essentially you might need to sit down and talk to him and tell him how you feel. I do think he might understand. You are his wife at the end of the day, and I do believe he loves you. So maybe if you explain to him that it's not that you don't want to get in the way of his goals, it's just that you miss him as a partner, that would make all the difference in the world. I would definitely encourage that you do that. We don't obviously want to say, men have always felt the need to work hard so they can provide, because that's kind of been the stereotype over time. But I'm glad that it's slowly falling by the wayside, and that women also do actively want to contribute to the house, do actively want to meet their partners halfway. And I just hope that the takeaway from what he hears from you is that you just miss him, because it sounds similar to the first anonymous. But I personally believe in communication. I believe in when something feels like it's being lost, always try to reignite it, because marriage isn't easy. Look at me talking like I've been married, bruh. But it hasn't been easy, but it only lasts if the both of you actively want to make it work. So I hope that I've given you kind of information that you can take away from this. And if it does begin to affect your relationship, I do think, guys, you know what, there's absolutely nothing wrong with counseling, therapy. I encourage those things, because a lot of us, we grow up and we take all the traumas that we were exposed to as children and we carry them on generationally, whether it's onto our kids, onto our partners. And once you start feeling like you're not loved, you start coping in that mechanism of not being loved, and then you expect people around you to understand when you don't show them love, because no one showed you love, but they must understand that you love them. Get it? It's also like an underlying trauma. Like a lot of the times we need to break the curses, the generational curses of not talking and always understanding. Let's communicate. Let's open up to each other. Let's be honest about what we want from each other in a marriage, because that is what's going to set everything apart and going to create a healthy environment. That's it, guys. That is the end of the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the scenarios that I gave you guys, but also don't forget to check out Lenyalo Le Thata, which will be airing on Moja Live channel 157 on the 6th of November, 8:30 Central African time. But until then, I love you guys so much. I will see you guys on my next episode on Hotspot.